All right, so today I want to talk about the golden age of America. And I think I mentioned it in another video, but I want to go um, into the details, into the devil's tales today, what this really means. And when Trump was elected to his second term, he basically said the golden age of America begins right now. And what if you always have to read between the lines, and what he's really talking about is the golden age of America. And the age I talked about, the letter H a lot, and it's always showing you that the two towers, like we saw on 9/11, are being bridged, just as in the movie The Walk, when there is a rope between the two towers and he's balancing across the rope. So Trump talked about the golden age. So this means the golden bridging or the short circuiting of the duality, the neutralisation of the duality within the mind. So he's talking about the golden short circuit, the golden healing of America. Ka also means the spirit, the life force, but it's also a phonetic tell because it's a Mary car. And if you pay close attention, the car in movies is always referring to the body. It's like if you follow the theory of Richard Dawkins, it's like an extended phenotype. The car is basically a symbol for the human body, for this machinery. And if we take a close look in Back to the Future, which was all about basically the marriage at the end because there was a problem, and so it needed to be healed. A duality needed to be healed in the movie. That was all about. This movie was all about healing the duality and healing the shadow self of Marty McFly. So there wasn't the shadow self in between him and his girl. So if we take a close look, they are walking past a car which has the license plate for Mary. So the car is for Mary, a Mary car. So this car basically symbolizes the body, and the body basically Mary is always the Holy Spirit, but we will go into this. So the Holy Spirit is basically trapped in the car. So the car needs to be healed, the body needs to be healed to set Mary free. And this healing, that's why healing also has the letter H. It begins with the letter H, just like the handshake or just like hospital. Or there are even more words like becoming the hero, which means healing arrow, the god of erotics and lust, and so on. It's always about healing the duality within, and this duality is about shadow and light. And we will go into that later. So, what Trump really said, and remember, he's the Antichrist, he's the anti-hero, the shadow self of the the collective shadow self. He embodies the shadow self. And what he's really was really talking about was the golden short circuit of this America, of this fallen state we are in. And the car is basically the body, the flesh prison cell avatar. With it's very dense, and we have to maintain it every day. We have to eat other life forms, but this should be the basics. So this needs to be healed in order to set the spirit free out of this Mary car, to set Mary free out of the car, so to speak. So that was what Trump really referred to. And yeah, not surprisingly, it was on the 20th of January. So we have another two become one coding, just like 9/11 took place in 2001, like two become one. And just like the COVID global pandemic exercise was called Event 201. Yeah, and we even have Eve in it. Because Eve is basically the ill version of Mary. And that's why Truman's wife was called Meryl, Mary Ill. The ill version of Mary is Eve. Because Eve represents another word for Eve is Sophia, because that represents the hubris and temptation which led to to the fall into the dual paradox, into the mind, into L's ebb, divide in the ebb L. So, yeah, it's all about two becoming one again, because we are in a dual paradox of shadow and light. And this duality, yeah, is to be seen everywhere. So, with Trump, with the second election, the golden age or the short circuit, and the short circuit of the old. That's why it's also called gold, because G is always signifying the short circuit of the old. The golden age means the golden or the short circuit of the old paradigm. Yeah, to set Mary free from this car, from this prison cell Frankenstein body. So that was really talked about, and this all started basically with COVID, but this was basically still a test phase, a test run, but it was the beginning. And we will go into what the really hot phase of this short circuit is and will look like. So, yeah, let's go a step further. In Germany, we say Ave Maria, which means yeah, basically it means Hail Mary, and we even had a movie coming out this year which was about Hail Mary, or which was called Hail Mary, and which was about healing Mary in the end, healing duality to set Mary, the spirit, free. And yeah, there's a saying in German, Ave Maria, which means Hail Mary. And it means greetings to Mary or heal Mary, basically. And Ave Maria also refers to the Mary Avenue, because the Ave is always an avenue. It's the abbreviation for avenue. So we are walking basically the Mary Ave, the Mary Avenue. And on top of this avenue, there is the marriage taking place. The marriage is like the Mary H, because the H happens on the top of this avenue. And if we look at an avenue, it's shaped like an A, like an venue. The avenue is like a Mary A venue. And a venue means a meeting place, a venue, a rendezvous. So at the top, at the end of time, when everything converges, and this is what we are witnessing right now, the shadow and the light is meeting on top, and there is the short circuit happening, and also then the marriage, the marriage, the short circuit means that Mary is then set free from this place, from this fallen state. So at the top there is the venue, the meeting point, the rendezvous with Mary. Yeah, and basically we have to picture this like a timeline. We started way down here, and as time progresses, we further come to the conclusion of the story. It's just like the hero's journey, just like every movie follows a storyline, and at the end there we have the climax, the denouement, where everything is converging. So we are on this Mary Ave, on this Mary Avenue, or we could say Mary A venue, Mary A venue, because this whole projection is shaped like an A. And what's the source of this projection is our pineal gland, and our pineal gland is the gateway, the portal into the heart, basically, the narrow gate back home. But we have to basically wait until this venue, this rendezvous is happening. And this all follows a timeline, and I talked about this. Timeline, and when does this venue, this meeting place, this rendezvous, when does this happen? And we can take a look at the game instructions, which are basically on the $1 bill, and we can see the clue right here. The T is the 20th letter, the C is the 3rd letter, and the O is like a 0, like a 2030. Here we go again, and I will make another video about that because I found much more clues. So let's go back. The same thing happened in the Truman Show, when Truman was basically setting Mary free, the Holy Mary. Santa Maria means Holy Mary. Maria is Mary in German and in other languages. Mary and Maria are the same. And what did Truman had to conquer? He had to conquer his worst nightmare, his worst fear, which was the fear of water. And after he conquered that fear, he basically was touching his shadow at the outer edges of the Truman Show. And I made a video about that. The video is called Truman is Facing L and His Shadow, I think. So it was all about facing the shadow in order for Mary to be set free, in order for the Holy Spirit to be set free out of this Mary car, out of this dense body, out of the Truman Show. And yeah, Mary is the Holy Spirit, and this is a well-known fact. Mother Mary is widely regarded in theology and spirituality as a profound symbol of the Holy Spirit, embodying spiritual motherhood, divine grace, and the nurturing of Christ's presence within humanity. So the Spirit is, of course, always symbolized by a woman. And the Spirit is trapped in this, it's concealed in darkness, it's concealed in this human flesh avatar, and to be precise, it's trapped in the chest, in the heart. The treasure chest is basically telling you that the treasure is in the chest. It's Mary, it's the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit has to be set free. And in order to set the Holy Spirit free, your spirit free, there is no way around facing your shadow self. And we will go into that in a minute. So we even have a song from Pink, which is called Ave Mary A, which is basically telling you the same thing. Ave Maria is basically telling you the Ave Mary, Mary Ave, and at the top there is the venue happening, at the top of the projection, which is always signified by the letter A venue, the avenue. We are walking the avenue towards the marriage, which is happening on top at the end, at the convergence point, at the point of singularity. Mary H. Again, Mary H. So, yeah, I talked about this slide. I think it should be very clear. And yeah, this also ties into the vanishing point, which I talked about in my last video. It's all on top of the hill, and the hill is also a tell because the ill needs to be short-circuited at the top of the hill. The ill, and if you take the H, then you have the hill, and on top of the hill there is the short circuit happening, the crucifixion, the crossing out of the fiction, which is the mind, which is this human cell prison avatar. And so we have the three crosses, basically, one for Isis, one for Ra, and one for El for the projector, which is the pineal gland. And then you can basically unlock Mary, unlock the spirit from your heart. So at the vanishing point, we vanish in G, we vanish in God. We have the opportunity to vanish from this hell realm. We vanish into the kingdom of the heart, if you like. And the vanishing point, is showing you that it's directly at the horizon, like Horus eye zone. And it's the same like here. This is the vanishing point. And we see this in movies too. Because now we are trapped in the skull, in the school, and school's out when the heart is basically opened. Then school is out after the crucifixion on top of this projection. The vanishing point. Just like a camera works. We have the objective, which is the objective of the game, the narrow gate, the top, the climax. And just as I said, it's shown in movies, the vanishing point, for example, in the movie Dark City. And we have the final scene where basically the Mary character is waiting at the point of rendezvous at the top of the pyramid. And there is even another clue, but I will talk about that in my next video. So, and they are basically, there's the vanishing point, this is the pyramid, and just like in Free Guy, when he has to take the leap of faith, he goes, he runs over the bridge and has to jump. And the final shadow self opponent is basically, I showed this in a lot of my videos from the Free Guy video. He's waiting there and he has to face him before he can jump over the bridge, over the vanishing point. And he's literally vanishing into a free city. And the marriage rendezvous at the vanishing point. Mary's waiting there, and they look at the sea, and the sea also is telling you, see, see, look, see with your heart, see it. And that's the clue. And if you translate see with other languages, then we have always la mer. In German we say Meer, and this goes also back to Mary. And even in French, mother means la mère. And the mer, it's always associated with Mary, the Meer, das Meer, we say in German. Sea, the sea. And you also have the maritime law or the marine. This is also always referring to Mary, and the sea is always associated with Mary, with the spirit, because you have to see the spirit. And the marriage, of course, it's the Mary Age. And as I said, Mary is always associated with the mother, with birth, because the birthing event is always associated with water. The amniotic fluid, for example, with water and the sea. It's basically, Mary is the Holy Spirit, and it's nurturing. It's the nurturing spirit, and without it, there would be basically nothing. So we even have movies. There's something about Mary, and it's basically about him looking for the Holy Spirit. He wants to be set free, so he's looking for Mary, and in order for the Mary age to take place, he has to overcome his shadow self. And for example, we see a funny scene when he's wrestling with a dog, And the dog is always the reversal of God, and it's always signifying the shadow self, which has to be integrated. And in this scene, he's wrestling with a dog, which means he's still wrestling with his shadow self, and he's still trapped in the pair of dogs, like we see here, with the queen and the pair of dogs, because the queen is held. The queen was another inverted symbol of the. It was like a little matrix joke, but the queen basically symbolizes again the spirit, and which is trapped in the pair of dogs, the paradox, pair of dogs, paradox. And the queen is another word for Mary or for the Holy Spirit. And this was just an inverted matrix version on the world stage, telling you the story. Because the inverted version already died. So it's not about this person, it's about the queen, the Mary, the spirit. So, and if we look at the word queen, we even have the 33 going on, which means, which is another, I will talk about the 33 in my next video. But if we take the phonetic, if we go into the phonetics, we can say queen is like Q in, because Q is another symbol of the one and the zero coming together to become one again. The short circuiting of the binary AI code of the ones and the zeros of the two states into a united state, into one state. And Q in just it always boils down to the same. Q in, like Q also is like a German word for source is Quelle, which begins with a Q. So we have to Q in within into the heart to set the spirit free. And in order to do that, we have to basically neutralize the paradox. So yeah, I think it all adds up together. I hope you can follow. And I'm now on the last slide, I'm going to explain why the mark of the beast, which is coming soon. From what I can tell, it's very obvious that it will come soon. I think we are not very far away from it. Otherwise, I'm totally wrong. So the mark is the narrow gate, and I'm gonna explain why the mark is the narrow gate. And let's dive into the hero's journey again, because in the hero's journey, the confrontation with the shadow self represents the ultimate life or death ordeal. It forces the hero to face their deepest fears, repressed flaws, and hidden dark traits. We are all capable of evil. And if you deny this, then you're still projecting your own shadow onto others, onto external enemies. So surviving this crisis requires the symbolic death of the ego, so a wiser, integrated self can be reborn. This intense, make or break encounter unfolds in a few distinct phases and purposes within the narrative. And every movie is following the hero's journey. Each and single movie is following the hero's journey, and this Hell Realm reality is also following the hero's journey. So it's up to each and every one of us to become the hero. At the end of Bruce Almighty, they even talk about becoming the hero in the end. So yeah, the abyss, the inmost cave. The setup. The hero approaches the darkest, most terrifying place in their journey, often a metaphorical cave representing their own deep unconscious. The stakes. Here, physical survival merges directly with psychological survival. Failing to conquer the shadow means succumbing to madness, evil, or total defeat. That's why the mark is the narrow gate. The nature of the shadow self, the mirror. The shadow isn't just an external villain. It's often the direct mirror image of the hero, personifying everything they have disowned, feared, or buried about themselves. So it all goes back to the shadow being the suppressed parts of yourself which you deny and then basically project onto others. But that's total nonsense. The temptation. The shadow tempts the hero to give in to their worst instincts, such as using dark powers, acting out selfishness, or abandoning their quest to save their ego. So the shadow self is showing you things, but it's also tempting you. It's basically, yeah, what it does is it's testing you, but in the end it wants to be integrated. So that's you have to keep that really, yeah, you shouldn't forget about that. So, the psychological death and rebirth, the breaking point. To defeat this internal monster, this internal darkness, the hero cannot simply destroy it with a weapon, and you cannot sorry, you cannot suppress your shadow. You cannot destroy it. It's impossible. They must go through a crisis where their old identity completely breaks down and dies. I'm a good human. I'm so self righteous. I'm better than everyone. I'm only. That's what's a lie. Everyone has the shadow and everyone is capable of evil. And in order to neutralize the shadow, you can suppress it, you can't destroy it with a weapon, you have to bring it to light. You have to shine a light in every freaking dark corner of yourself. And you have to bring everything to light. You have to make everything conscious, all the darkness within. So suppressing or fighting the shadow won't work. And why is the mark the narrow gate? Because if you don't take it, you're confronted with your shadow self and you have to face it. You're basically pushed into a life or death situation. Think about it. What are you gonna do when you are ostracized from society? So the breaking point, yeah, and the integration. The true victory is achieved when the hero accepts and integrates these darker parts into their conscious personality. You have to integrate it into your conscious personality, acknowledging their own capacity for darkness to gain ultimate wholeness. So that's the task. And right now we can prepare, we can already shine a light into our darkest spots prior to the mark being rolled out. So we can preparing the light and the dark, neutralize the shadow. So that's what's really what really can be done right now with the time we still have, so that we don't get into panic when it all goes down. I hope I brought a little bit of light into the Mary thing, what this really is about. It's about the rendezvous in the end, which will take place, and it's up to each and every one of us to set the spirit free, to face the shadow, to face the fear, to face the darkness. Yeah, I think it's about the event 201, and remember, at 9/11 the two towers became one, the Freedom Tower, which looked like basically like a jab, or looks like a jab. Yeah, that's it for today.